Welcome to the webinar on neonatal hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia in neonates is very important because it is a common, readily diagnosed and easily treatable condition. Moreover, if untreated, it can lead to permanent brain damage. Despite knowledge of such a commonly occurring event in NICUs over the world, controversy still exists over diagnosis of neonatal hypoglycemia. Various investigators have empirically recommended different blood glucose levels that should be maintained in newborns to prevent injury to the developing brain. As per WHO guidelines, when blood glucose level is below 45 mg per deciliter, intervention is indicated. Coming on to symptoms of hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia is a gait masquerader. On one hand, it can be like a sleeping giant lying quietly in an asymptomatic baby. On the other hand, it can present with myriad symptoms. Most of the symptoms are non-specific like irritability, poor feeding, lethargy, hypothermia and cyanosis. There can also be organ system specific symptoms like pertaining to CNS like tremors, jitteriness, seizures, diaphoresis, abnormal cry and hypotonia, cardiac symptoms like tachycardia and mottling, respiratory symptoms like apnea, tachypnea, cyanosis, and symptoms of gastrointestinal tract like feed intolerance, increased residual feeding and abdominal distension. As quite a few babies with hypoglycemia may be asymptomatic, and even asymptomatic hypoglycemia can lead to brain damage, we need to screen babies with following risk factors for neonatal hypoglycemia. All babies with maternal risk factors like diabetes mellitus in mother, hypertension, eclampsia, excessive dextrose infusion, mothers on beta agonists like terbutaline, mothers on beta blockers like labetalol, propranolol, and if mother is receiving oral hypoglycemics for her diabetes. In addition, babies with decreased stores like preterm and IUGR, babies with hyperinsulinism like infant of diabetic mother, and babies with conditions associated with increased utilization or decreased production of glucose like babies with perinatal stress like neonatal sepsis, shock, perinatal asphyxia, polycythemia, prolonged fasting, RH isoimmunization, and practically all sick and symptomatic babies need to be screened for neonatal hypoglycemia. When to screen? All high-risk babies need to be screened by blood sugar levels at 2 hours, 6 hours, 12, 24, 48 and 72 hours. All sick infants may be needed to be screened more frequently like every 6 to 8 hours, but again screening has to be tailor-made for each baby. How do we screen? Glucose estimation is usually done by a glucometer using reagent strips, and abnormal values should always be confirmed by lab diagnosis. For blood glucose estimation by glucometer, we use capillary blood sample which is obtained by heel prick. It is to be done under all aseptic precautions. All supplies for this method should be available beforehand like sterile gloves, antiseptic solutions like spirit soap swab, dry cotton wool balls, 24G needle if lancets are not readily available, and glucometer with appropriate glucose sticks. We need to squeeze the heel firmly enough to make it flush red, but not so much that it turns white. Aim it towards lateral or medial side of the heel. Avoid the heel pad because of risk of infection. Avoid using previously used sites if possible. Though diagnosis of hypoglycemia is quick and easy with glucometer, there are certain pitfalls to glucose reagent strips, like unproven reliability, especially if blood sugar levels are low. It measures blood glucose level and plasma levels tend to be 15% higher. Both false positive and false negative results are possible, especially at low levels when maximal accuracy is actually desired. All babies diagnosed to have hypoglycemia by glucometer should have their blood test confirmed in laboratory. Details of heel pricking can be seen in a video at AIIMS website. For purpose of management, hypoglycemia is classified into two categories: asymptomatic hypoglycemia and symptomatic hypoglycemia. First, coming on to babies with asymptomatic hypoglycemia. If a baby with asymptomatic hypoglycemia is already on IV fluids, just increase his glucose infusion rate by 2 mg per kg per minute. However, if the baby is on full enteral nutrition, management of hypoglycemia differs with severity of hypoglycemia. In babies with blood sugar level less than 25 mg per deciliter, IV infusion of dextrose is recommended. In babies with asymptomatic hypoglycemia on full enteral nutrition with blood sugar level ranging between 25 to 45 mg per deciliter, oral feed should be given and blood sugar level should be repeated after 30 to 60 minutes. If after this time blood sugar level falls below 25 mg per deciliter, immediately start IV infusion. However, if blood sugar level persists between 25 to 45 mg per deciliter, then continue the same cycle of feeding and rechecking blood sugar every 30 to 60 minutes. If the baby is on exclusive breastfeeding and is not maintaining blood sugar in normal range, consider giving express breast milk or formula milk in recommended volumes. If blood sugar level still does not increase beyond 45 mg per deciliter, consider fortifying the milk with sugar or 5% dextrose. Stop monitoring if blood sugar level is more than 45 mg per deciliter on 2 consecutive occasions. So, indications of starting IV fluids in babies with asymptomatic hypoglycemia are: if blood sugar remains below 45 despite feeding and baby becomes symptomatic, and on occasions where close monitoring of or repeated blood sugar monitoring is not possible. Coming on to management of babies with symptomatic hypoglycemia. All such babies should be treated with bolus of 10% dextrose given in the dose of 2 ml per kilogram. This should always be followed by continuous infusion with glucose infusion rate at 6 to 8 mg per kg per minute. If, however, in your institution IV initiation is not possible, give 10% dextrose by nasogastric tube and transfer the baby with standard precautions. After the bolus dose, monitor blood sugar level after 30 to 60 minutes. If blood sugar level continues to be less than 45 mg per deciliter, increase the infusion in steps of 2 mg per kg per minute every 30 minutes till blood glucose level is more than 45 mg per deciliter. Consider placement of central line if glucose concentration requirement is more than 13%. If blood sugar level is consistently more than 45 mg per deciliter on 2 occasions, continue with the same glucose infusion rate. Monitor blood sugar every 3 hours or earlier if clinical signs suggest. When blood sugar is more than 45 mg per deciliter, on more than 2 occasions, start weaning the glucose infusion in steps of 2 mg per kg per minute every 6 hourly. Feeding is started when baby is asymptomatic and blood sugar is maintained on current infusion rate for 2 consecutive occasions. IV fluids are stopped when glucose infusion rate is less than equal to 4 mg per kg per minute for at least 12 hours. If symptoms persist even after treatment of hypoglycemia, consider other systemic disorders like septicemia, CNS diseases, toxic exposure and associated metabolic abnormalities. Refractory hypoglycemia is considered when glucose infusion rate is more than 12 mg per kg per minute for more than 24 hours. Prolonged hypoglycemia or persistent hypoglycemia is labeled when blood sugar level remain unstable or below 45 mg per deciliter for more than 5 to 7 days. Whenever newborn requires glucose infusion rate of more than 12 mg per kg per minute for 12 to 24 hours, always ensure that there was no interruption in glucose infusion due to causes like countered IV cannula. Any baby with persistent or refractory hypoglycemia, when IV is being given through pediatric drip sets, should always be switched over to syringe infusion pumps. In addition, ensure an extra IV cannula is inserted in all cases with difficult hypoglycemias. Coming on to approach to a baby with persistent hypoglycemia or refractory hypoglycemia. When persistent or refractory hypoglycemia is suspected, first step is to get urine for non-glucose reducing substances done. If it is positive, then galactosemia is considered and confirmatory tests are to be sent. If urine for reducing substance is negative, then urine ketones should be done. If urine ketones are positive, think of glycogen storage disease, gluconeogenic defect and organic acidosis. If urine ketones are however negative, then think of fatty acid oxidative defects, ketogenesis defects and hyperinsulinism and send respective tests for confirmation. Neurological sequelae in babies with asymptomatic and symptomatic hypoglycemia are seen in about 20 and 35% cases respectively. To sum up, neonatal hypoglycemia is defined as blood glucose level less than 45 mg per deciliter. We should screen all high-risk babies like preterms, IUGRs and infants of diabetic mothers using glucometer. All low sugars should be confirmed in laboratory. Asymptomatic babies with blood glucose level more than 25 mg per deciliter can be managed by frequent feeding and close monitoring of their sugars bedside. However, asymptomatic babies with blood sugar level less than 25 mg per deciliter should be admitted to NICU and treated with continuous infusion of glucose without giving them a dextrose bolus. In symptomatic hypoglycemia, first give a bolus of 2 ml per kg of 10% dextrose followed by continuous infusion by a syringe pump. Thank you.